Welcome to the Wed Pro podcast, the podcast for Wed Pros no matter their stage. We are your hosts, Katie and Roxy, and this is the Wed Pro podcast.
Yay!
Hi! Welcome back to this episode of the Wed Pro podcast. I am Roxy and she is Katie.
And we are diving in today all about ghosting in your wedding business. We totally understand that this is super frustrating and can leave you questioning really what can you do, and even sometimes questioning whether you even want to be in business. But fortunately, there are some really straightforward, easy steps you can take to minimize the ghosting that happens in your business and secure more bookings. So in this episode, we're going to highlight the most common mistakes that we see wedding professionals make that lead to getting ghosted. And by addressing these issues, you are going to be on your way to creating a ghost-proof wedding business, which would just be amazing, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it? Like, ghosting it's such a hot topic. It's the one thing that clients talk to us about all of the time. And we get it. We're not in this for fun. I say it all the time. Like, we want all these pieces of the puzzle to work, and one of them is stopping the ghosting happening.
Yeah, and while some factors are going to be beyond your control, most causes of ghosting are really fixable and surprisingly easy for you to be able to address. And one of the common misconceptions about ghosting is that ghosting kind of only happens after that initial inquiry or the consultation, suggesting that they've lost interest in something based on something you have said on that consultation or you have said it in that booking process at the beginning. However, in reality, a lot of ghosting actually occurs due to issues that arise even before your clients reach out. Often it's about being unclear in certain things or setting misleading expectations on your website or in other parts of the processes. So addressing these things is super crucial, and we're going to go through a few of the reasons why you may be getting ghosted and how you can prevent it.
So strap in, get your pen and paper, because we are going to dive into this.
So the first reason that we see, probably one of the most common reasons, and such a hot topic inside the wedding industry, is that you're not providing any insight into your pricing or availability. And this is one of the major reasons why wedding professionals are being ghosted. It's your failure to indicate your availability and give any sort of suggestion on your pricing. You know, we've heard this so many times, that it's been suggested in the past to not mention your availability up front, but this is a mistake, absolutely. And, you know, to not mention any pricing up front, absolutely a mistake. Based on kind of my 14 years experience, you know, clients appreciate some kind of an indication as to whether you're in their budget. And while you don't need to be super transparent, you know, providing a detailed calendar of when you're not available, providing a general idea is essential, especially when it comes to your pricing. If your website lacks this information, the first thing your client is going to ask you about is like, what's your price? And, you know, so many wedding professionals that we speak to get really frustrated by that question, and we would encourage you to not be, but that's a topic for a different day. But
I was just thinking, like, that's a whole new topic.
That's a whole new topic. We'll talk about pricing another time. But, you know, that's what people are going to reach out and ask for you. And that uncertainty can lead to ghosting. You know, as clients need to be able to ensure they don't want to waste their time either. It's that you accommodate like what they are looking for before they move forward. And like Roxy, like Gen Zs are way more into this, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, totally. And it is a really great way of pre-qualifying before you even get on a call. You know, and with the Gen Zs, they expect clear upfront communication, and they are less likely to engage with a business that is lacking in that information. You know, without mentioning your pricing. And like Kate says, you don't have to be, it's this. It kind of price is starting from, just to kind of gauge a ballpark. But if you're not doing that, you are risking losing that potential client who might already assume that you are too expensive for them, or that maybe you're already booked up. So provide context about your pricing, about your availability upfront before you even get on a call.
Say things like, you know, typically you book 6 months in advance or a year to advance, or you can mention that, summer is your busiest season. And that approach helps your clients to manage expectations, you know, and it's almost like that hot restaurant that everybody wants to go to that's, requires you to book way in advance. That expectation set that I need to book that restaurant 3 months in advance to be able to get a table there. By you just giving an indication that you typically book 6 months to a year in advance, or certain period of time is your busiest season, just helps your clients to make decisions. It prevents that ghosting, but ultimately, and more importantly, it helps and leads your client into making a decision. So you can offer guidelines like, we book up quickly during peak wedding season, so we recommend reaching out at least 6 months in advance, or something like that. You can even put something like, we have limited availability in the upcoming year. That sort of language, that sort of framework helps to provide, some understanding of your schedule, how popular you are to your client, but it isn't overwhelming your clients with details either. So we're absolutely not saying you need to be like, I have one date available in June and I am not available on the 20th of June and I've booked a holiday on the 30th of July. Like, that's not what we're saying at all. But you need to set some sort of expectation. And just by having some sort of guidelines like that, and it's really helpful for your clients as well. It indicates them a general timeline as to when they should be booking you, and you can test this approach. You can see what works best for the couples that you work with and adjust it, and update your information as often as needed. Most of your clients won't notice minor changes on your website, so
No.
go and test it out.
Yeah, that's so true. Like the things that we like, oh no, like seem so big to us when it comes to like websites and tweaking things are literally minute to the end user. So although it might feel like a big deal to change these things, if it isn't currently working, definitely switch it up, track it, give it a couple of months. And I think as well, it isn't like a one size fits all approach, kind of depending on where you sit in the market is going to depend on the information that your clients are going to be looking for, and they will appreciate knowing beforehand. But test it, track it, and tweak it as you go.
Test it, track it, tweak it. Love it. That's like a
Test
little
it, track it, twack it. Don't
well,
track it.
that could have gone wrong, couldn't it? That one could have.
That could have really gone wrong.
So the next reason that we see, I would say 90%, if not more, wedding pros are getting this wrong, is many wedding businesses are really struggling to communicate their value on their services page. Your services page should be there really doing most of the selling for you. And it's common that we see, and we see this so much, is that what we tend to see when we look over businesses and we look over websites for people is that we get like lists and lists and lists of features of what their business does. We get lists of, I do this, I provide this, you're going to get X, Y, Z when you book
And
me.
it's like 3 packages, and it's like
Yeah,
box round it.
and it lists the features, the things. So if you're a photographer, it might list, you're going to get 8 hours of photography with me. You're going to get, pictures of getting ready. You're going to get an album. You're going to get shots in the evening, the sunset shots. That is listing features. And it's a common issue here. And we see this time and time again, at least with 90% of the businesses that we work with, and something that we frequently address inside Web Pro CEO, don't we?
Uh-huh.
An effective services page really will pre-sell your service so well that potential clients are just going to feel super drawn to you and ready to book without needing that extensive sales pitch when they get on a call with you. So instead of merely like listing your services and your prices, you really need to be communicating the benefits and the value you provide. So instead of talking about that you provide sort of 10 hours of coverage or 8 hours of coverage or whatever it is, describe on your services page how you're going to be capturing the entire day, from the getting ready in the morning to the last dance at night. That content text really helps the client to understand the value, and also future paces them to their wedding. So it gets them thinking about their wedding, what that looks like on the day, and really helps understand why your services are worth the price as well.
Yeah, like we know that when couples are looking for wedding services and, businesses, they're not just looking at your site, they're looking at 3, 4, 5 others. So if you've got a list, the next one's got a list, like what is setting you apart from everybody else? Because if you look the same as everyone else, then they are literally probably going to be going for the price, right?
Yeah, sure. That's right. And having that services page that's listed and you're thinking about value, you're thinking about benefits to the couples, you're ensuring that those couples see why your offer is worth more than the price. And this way, they feel like they're getting a great deal and you are going to stand out from the competition. Exactly what Roxy's just said there. If your features can just be compared to somebody else's features, well, somebody is always going to be cheaper than you and offer more than what you.
And as well, the services that you're probably listing, they are, I would say that, they're going to, that's a given. Like, okay, you're a photographer, you're going to provide me with 8 hours of photography. Okay, but I already kind of guessed that. I already expected that to be there.
It's just really about the benefits, and it's much easier for you to be able to stand out and speak directly to your ideal client and raise your prices easier as well. So really regularly reviewing, look and improving that services page, that page that tells you what it is that you do, will significantly reduce those ghostings and increase bookings. And this is a really manageable change as well, and within your control. So it's not something that you're like, oh my God, ghosting's outside of my control. Actually, 90% of ghosting, there's something that you can do about it. So we don't have to take it as like, oh, it's just inevitable. Yes, a small percentage of it is inevitable. However, there is so much that you can be doing to be stopping this, for sure.
Okay, so another reason that oh gosh, and we see this one all the time as why ghosting might be happening is info dumping on your potential clients. Like, we see this so often, and it's a
Actually,
huge.
we see it so much, not just on websites, but actually on consultations, don't we?
Yeah, just in general, it's just kind of, I don't want to say a vomit of information because that sounds really negative, but it's, you only need to give your clients the information that they need at certain points. You don't need to dump it all out to them at the beginning, because that's information overload. And it's such a common mistake that after receiving that initial inquiry, you're then overwhelming potential clients with too much information. While it is important to provide the necessary details, there's a real fine line here between being informative and being overwhelming. Because what will happen is, if you send them too much stuff, they're probably just not going to look over it, are they? Let's be honest.
I think what people tend to do, whether it's in the inquiry stage or the consultation phase, is you as the wedding supplier are thinking about that end point already. You're thinking about the wedding, and we get it. You want the booking,
Yeah.
you know, that's what you want. However, we're not trying to get them, we're just trying to get them to the next step constantly. So your job is to slow down and get them to the next step. It's not about getting them to Z as quickly as possible, from A to Z as fast as possible. It's about getting them there because it's right for them and it's right for you, and just getting them to that next step. Like, you need to remember that most people you deal with are new to wedding planning, and they often don't know what they need. They might ask for, you know, pricing details or brochure details, but those requests don't usually address their deeper needs and what they actually want and desire, and, you know, what their vision actually is. And you might need to just dig a little deeper as a wedding supplier. So instead of dumping all this information on them, like, this is what I can do for you, and we see this so often in consultations, and we sit and we do this inside of our program, don't we, Roxy? We sit and we talk to you about the consultation and how to take people through a consultation and guide them to a yes. And in our consultation process that we know that works and we encourage our members to use, we don't even get to sell until right to, we don't talk about the sale till right to the end.
We don't talk about Bruno.
Guiding them through a conversation, you know, asking questions to understand their needs, you know, talking about their style preferences, the date, the venue. It's making connections and really positioning you as an expert, and making sure you're providing them with information that they want, you know, information that is relevant to them, which is going to make them feel much more supported rather than totally overwhelmed.
Yeah, the last thing you want to come across as well is too eager, almost on the edge of verging on a little bit of desperate for this booking. So just slow it down, pull them reins, like, hold up a minute, take it step by step. And we do say this quite often, it's almost like dating, you know, you've got to got to warm them up a little bit. You wouldn't go from A to Z, so let's fill in the rest of the alphabet.
I know what she said. She wasn't saying.
Ah!
Some people would, you know, each their own. But you know,
I stopped myself before I said it. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa.
it's fine, no judgment. It's about getting to that next step. So, like, what do we need to do to get to date? What do we need to do to get them into a conversation or into a consultation, whatever it is? So it's always about, and we apply this to a lot of the stuff we do, you know, even with your email marketing, even with other things. What's the goal? Is it to open email to? Is it to go to your website? Is it to make an inquiry on your website? Is, you know, what's the goal? Are we getting them to visit a particular page? Are we getting them to make an inquiry? Are we getting them to ask for prices? So just think about your process a little bit better. It's not about information dumping, like Roxy said. It's not about just giving them everything, like this is everything, make a decision, because people who are overwhelmed don't make decisions. So it's about just pulling it back, you know, and thinking, right, what's the aim here? If the aim is to get them into a conversation, and most people tell us that, don't they? Most people say, when I'm on a consultation with people, I can close. So if it's about that, it's about what do I need to do to get them to that.
So another kind of mishap that we see that really does lead to ghosting is kind of changing it up too much too quickly. Like, again, trying to get them on a call straight away, trying to switch that high level of commitment, you know, phone call, Zoom, too soon. You've got to really align your responses with their communication medium, i.e. like the way that they are writing, the way that they are responding. Like, take it, if they want to ask to hop on a call, that's great, hop on a call, but there is no need to do this within the first 2 messages at all.
I think it's about, as well, like, realizing actually it's not about what you want as a business. And yes, you can in terms of, you know, you want to be contacted on email or Instagram or whatever it is, right? And you can move people, for sure. You can move people from your DMs into your email or into your questionnaire or whatever it is. Just don't do it too quickly, because again, you're going to overwhelm people. You want to gradually build to kind of those more in-depth conversations by asking questions, answering the questions that they've got, you know, having an easy back and forth with people, and then saying, right, love to be able to hop on a call with you. Would you be able to fill in this questionnaire? Or when are you free for a call? Like Gen Zers like don't particularly like to just hop on a call straight away, and then some people do, and that's fine.
I am the type of person, just for context, like not even just Gen Z, if someone texts me and then tries to ring me, I will just hold the phone and just stare at that phone. I'm like, I'm not answering this phone. So bad at it. I carry on texting. I'm not a Gen Z, but yeah.
Some people have WhatsApp communication now. That's fine if that's how you want to do it. And I absolutely get it, because we've even said this morning, we're having a conversation with a client at the minute, and you know, they're on Slack because they're inside of our program, so they get access to us on Slack. They've DM'd us,
like separately emailed us,
and I'm like, whoa, we need to keep this communication in one place, because especially because there's 2 of us in the business, like Roxy can be answering over here, I can be answering over there, and I'm like, okay, like, you've got Slack, that's where we'd love you to chat to us, but if you don't want to chat to us on Slack, please email us. DMs, amazing, like our content on DMs, anything super quick, amazing, but really, let's keep the communication in one place. And I get it, it's overwhelming for you as a business owner, but if you are accepting DMs and asking people in your call to actions, reach out to me on the DMs, you know, reply to them on the DMs, warm them up, don't change that communication method too quickly. So don't be like, oh yeah, amazing, I'd love to jump on a call. They don't even know they want a call yet. They probably
don't know what they want.
Yeah, whether you align, whether they can afford you, are you even available? So exactly like the first one, this is totally within your control. Stop rushing things, take it back a notch. I mean, even in our business, we would have a leads list, wouldn't we? So we would have a leads list, we'd know where everybody is. So then you can follow up, like you can follow up in a couple of days if people are ghosting you and looking into things, and, you know, putting everybody's name in, where they've contacted you. If they've contacted you on Instagram, you know where to go and find their conversation. If they've and then here's a hint as well, put their Instagram handle. because it can be quite difficult to find.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, we've learned the hard way with that one.
Or if they contacted you on emails, when did they contact you? Just so you can keep an eye on your list. And also
And as well, in Instagram, you can put little tags on people, can't you now? So you
yeah,
can
to
put
make them a
little leads.
lead.
That's quite handy.
Yeah, so you can find them. But what we know is, and this does go with ghosting, although it's not directly, linked, is that most wedding pros are not following up enough. So, it's about having that leads list, being able to know who have I had conversations with, who do I need to go back to and have conversations with. And there will be people on that list that you are able to close. And actually, this is the biggest thing that we see people go from 5 figures to 6 figures in their business, are the people that are going back. They track all of their leads, they know where their leads are in their business, and they are following up.
Follow up, guys. Oh, the next one is one that I love the most. Dead ending the conversation. And it's so easy to do, right? And this one can take a little bit of training to kind of to flip it on its head to get right, but avoid ending your messages and your emails with really vague statements like, I look forward to hearing from you. Please
Or
just get in touch.
let me
Please
know.
just get in touch when you're ready to book, or let me know if you've got any more questions. Like, instigate it. Be the one that's in control. And, if they're mentioning the venue, ask if they plan to use indoor, outdoor space. Like, keep the conversation open and free flowing. This really fosters that engagement and also builds rapport, and it keeps the conversation open. If you're doing like closed ended statements like, I look forward to hearing from you, they may have every intention of getting back in touch with you, but they've got 1,000 million other things to do in their lives. They're not sat there kind of going, oh, okay, like, oh, I just need to reply to that email. It doesn't work like that.
No, but by having kind of easy, open-ended questions that are non-committal, so it's not like you are making them say yes to booking you, but it's non-committal. You're keeping that conversation open, and I understand what you're getting at there, Roxy, in terms of like if you're leaving it quite closed, it's like, okay, conversation closed. I'll get back to you when I find 5 minutes, or if I have a question. That's why you should never say, if you've got any questions, let me know.
And don't worry, I've done it many times, and then afterwards I'm like, why have I said that? So it really is about training yourself to steer
Yeah,
away
because
from those questions.
if they don't have a question, they'll be like, oh, okay, I don't have a question, so I don't need to get in touch with you right now. And then they forget. So it's about just a little bit of back and forth between you. This really hits into something we go quite deep inside of our course program as well, Web Pro CEO. It's a commitment principle as well. So we are quite big into sales psychology, and we teach a lot of sales psychology inside Web Pro CEO, and we talk about how we take people from look to book using very deep within us psychological triggers. One of the psychological triggers is something called the commitment principle. If you can keep a conversation back and forth between yourself and a potential client, not only does that build rapport, but they are 80% more likely to book with you, because it taps into the commitment principle with people. That the more time they spend invested in your business, invested in communicating with you, looking at things that you do, opening documents that you send them, booking in for a call with them, checking out a blog post you've done, following you on social media, reading your content, all of this stuff adds to more and more and more commitment that they've got with your brand. And the more that they do this with you, and one of the ways that they can do that really easily is a back and forth conversation with non-committal questions that are like, do you plan to use the indoor or outdoor space? Do you plan to use the flowers in the venue and have separate from flowers at the church, or will you be using the same flowers? Non-committal questions that keep the conversation going back and forth builds on that commitment principle, and means, right, that they are more likely to book you. And the reason that this works is because people then don't want to start that process over again with another wedding supplier. If you're giving them the right answers, you're giving them the right feel, you are, aligned with this client, which all of the things that we want you to be, of course, they don't want to start that process over again with somebody else, so they are more likely to book with you.
I love to do this and use a more personal way. So it doesn't always have to be about their wedding, about their planning. It can be about little droplets of information that they've given you about their life. Like, I always remember on one of my sales calls, so this is how me and Katie do the sales calls. Like, we've got a spreadsheet that we can both get into, and in it's got like extra information. And on like one of the leads, it was like, ask this lady about her bike ride.
Oh yeah,
Can you remember? And
yeah,
it really helps to build that rapport. And I love it as well because it shows you are a person, and you know, you are real, you are down to earth. Even you were doing it yesterday, Kate. I don't know even if you noticed, like you were making yourself relatable when we were on that coaching call with our client, because you were like, do you know what? I can totally relate. This is happening to me as well. Like I've had a lack of sleep.
yeah. Yeah. But it's yeah, in terms of, don't dead end that conversation.
Mm,
You want to leave it with open-ended kind of discussion, open-ended questions. So as we're kind of moving a little bit forward and more towards booking and more towards getting some commitment from your client, it's really important as well, and this is where we see people fall through the cracks here. How many of you have got a yes from somebody and then found it so frustrating when they don't sign the contract, or they then don't send their
yeah.
deposit? But they've said yes on the call, but then they've ghosted you. And most of the time this happens because you're not providing clear enough steps. So always think about the next steps that you need your client to do, explain your process well, what the client needs to do next, what you need to be doing next. You can do this as easily as like inviting them to schedule a call with you and outlining what will happen during the call and what will happen after the call. And setting those kind of clear expectations builds trust with your client, because when you get on the call and you talk about everything that you said you were going to talk about, brilliant, trust is built. But it also helps them just feel guided and their hand held
Yeah.
through this process as well. Like, most people are getting married for the first time. It's massively daunting. You know, there's a lot of suppliers to coordinate, there's a lot of little individual tasks that all stack on top of each other, whilst our clients also have full-time jobs and, you know, families to care for, and, you know, relatives to check in with. And, you know, it's massively daunting to people, and your clients 100% appreciate that kind of hand holding and guiding them through your processes. And also remember, your processes as a business is not going to look like somebody else's. So please do not assume that your client just knows, and your client just knows that it's standard, that you pay the deposit and then you pay the balance 6 weeks before. Your client doesn't know that. So
Even when I got married like seven years ago, that this is one thing as a bride that I found, was that I was like, okay, what happens now? Like I felt like I was always left in the dark.
and chasing, yeah, and
Yeah.
chasing. You can do this as easily as saying to people, look, once you book with me, you'll get a pack, and inside the pack it will tell you, you know, 3 months before the wedding, this is what we're going to do. 6 months before the wedding, this is what we're going to do. 2 weeks before the wedding, this is what we're going to do. It'll give you all the dates when your payments are due. Or, you know, you can even do that on a CRM that will send them emails with invoices attached, or
Reminders. Yeah.
emails, or, you know, but explain to them that that's how you work. Think about this from what your client wants. You know, we're absolutely not saying bombard your clients with information, and this is exactly like the info dumping thing that we said a little while ago. It's not about bombarding them with information. At this point where you've had the yes, I'd like to go ahead and we're looking to book, it's the next steps. So totally different, but inside of our program, when we talk to somebody on our calls and they want to join our program, it's like, amazing, brilliant. The next step will be to just pay your deposit or pay in full, whichever works for you. What would work best for you? So they would let us know. Then we would say to them, amazing, we'll get an invoice drawn up to you. We'll get that sent out today for you. Once you've paid your invoice, we will be sending you an information pack and a welcome pack and a welcome gift through the post. So please make sure that you give us your address. So we're not giving them all of that information right at the beginning. We are keeping that conversation going, which isn't dead ending the conversation, but also we're letting them know what to expect. Then once they've, you know, paid the deposit and they've signed their contract, and we've told them that this is going to go, you know, we're sending your welcome pack to you and your lovely gift to say thank you for joining our program with us. We then say, right, your next steps are, we send them an email, we send them a lovely little welcome email with all the ways they can get in touch with us if they've got any questions. We also then would say to them, right, this is how you access our training, this is how you access our portal now. Note, we haven't done that like right at the beginning.
Can you imagine if we would? Can you imagine?
It's so overwhelming for people. Like,
Like, whoa.
we need something from you, so we need that. Yes, you're going to go ahead, amazing, wonderful.
Mm.
We're super, you know, everybody's aligned, we're really excited to work with you, amazing. okay, what I need from you now is deposit or
Next step. Yeah.
next step. Okay, that's done. This is the next step. This is the next step. And then everybody's happy and everyone's really clear. Right, the last one that we want to talk about really, and I was actually talking to another one of our clients about this last week, about what happens kind of in the wedding market. And so many wedding businesses are dropping the ball with couples who aren't ready to book just right now. Doesn't mean they're a no for forever, but it just means they're a no right now. Don't let people slip away who would otherwise would have booked just because they're not ready to book immediately. Most of the clients out there fall into like a buy later couple. So that means that they are just, for whatever reason, whether they've not got the budget there yet, they've not saved up, or they're just not at that stage of their wedding planning yet, just may have come across you, may be really interested in what you do, but they're just not ready to book yet. You really need to be not forgetting about these people, get them into your leads list. Don't let them slip away just because they're not ready to book right now. You need to be nurturing these people, using email marketing, sending helpful content, keeping the conversation going if it's in the DMs. That ongoing engagement and that ongoing communication from you can convert those hesitant clients into bookings when they are ready to proceed. 80% of your market at any one time sits into a buy later couple. So only 20% of anybody ever looking at your socials or ever coming that you chat to at a wedding fair or, you know, that comes across your business, only 20% will be primed and ready to book once they've made the right decision and be at that yes phase. 80%, for whatever reason, they might still be in the research phase, they might have not booked a venue yet, they might, for any reason, they just might not be at the point where they need to think about entertainment, they may not have decided on a colour scheme yet. There's so many reasons why 80% of your market at any one time sits in this buy later. What most wedding professionals are doing, and they're doing it wrong, is they are constantly just thinking about the 20%.
Aren't they? Yeah.
And they are eradicating
Missing out on a massive pool here.
They're eradicating 80% of the market at any one time. So they're focusing on 20% and everybody's going after that 20%. But by opening it up and thinking, right, my couples fit into two camps, they fit into buy later and buy now. More of them fit into buy later. How am I communicating with the buy later? How am I creating content for the buy laters? How am I nurturing the buy laters so that they come to me? And this is why, you know, we focus on this inside of our program so much.
This is why we love email marketing, people.
And email marketing, and we talk about nurturing people, and we talk about generating leads. How do we generate leads? How do we keep conversations going in the DMs? How do we sell in the DMs? All of these things are all of the things that are really going to open up your business, because instead of focusing on this 20% over here, we've got that, we're going after that full 100%.
And what I find is with wedding business owners, you know, when we hear them say, oh, I'm getting lots of inquiries, but they're not ready to book yet, you can almost start to feel quite bitter about that, like it's almost the couple's fault that they're not ready to book yet. But then it's your job to keep them in your world, keep, you know, popping up to them, keep having those touch points so that you've not lost them. You don't want to be wasting your time having, you know, conversations at wedding fairs, for example. Like, what are you doing to them, for those couples that are not ready to buy yet? Have a little think about that. You know, it is wedding season now, but wedding fair season will be coming up before we know it. So think about the strategies that you can put in when it comes to email marketing to capture those details of those couples that aren't ready just yet. Because as Kate says, doesn't mean that it's a no forever, it's just a no for right now.
Or just are not ready for right now. We just need to be nurturing
So
them.
many couples get excited, like when it comes to wedding planning, and they want to experience the wedding fairs.
And they want to go to all the wedding fairs and get all of these from every single supplier.
And that's really exciting. That's like a happy thing, but you got to make sure that you are there at that right point to capture that information.
Top of mind, and not putting all the chips in their corner as well. So not, you know, in business, we're trying to stack the odds more and more in our favour, and that's all we're doing, stacking the odds more and more in our favour, so that we can be seen at the right time, be visible at the right time. So when you don't have methods that you can, you know, check in with people, go back and check in with a lead that's gone cold, where you don't have email marketing, so you can't send emails out to people, you're putting too many of the chips in their corner for them to remember your business name, who you were, who did they speak to. And, you know, people's lives are busy. And, you know, that business card that you gave them 6 months ago is at the bottom of a bag by now, that's in a cupboard that, you know, no one's thinking of. Or you think, oh, it's okay, I've got Instagram. No, it's not okay that you've got Instagram. Like 2% of your posts are being seen on Instagram organically. The fact that the chances of your post being seen at the right time by the right person at the right time for that person, and it's the right bit of content that gets them to think about booking you, is really slight. It's super, super slight. So it's about stacking the odds more and more in your favor. By having the details of your couples, you can get in touch with them. And we see this time and time again. And one of the biggest things that we get a return on inside of our coaching programs is when we set this up the right way so that people can be nurtured. You can be top of mind when people come to book you. So we've talked today so much stuff about ghosting, but what we wanted you to come away from the end of this podcast really understanding is that so much of this can be inside of your control. Whether it's about, you know, keeping in touch with people, giving them clear steps, whether it's about making sure that your communication is on the right page and you're not rushing anybody, or it's about having that pricing on your website nice and clear, or it's about thinking about the way that you're selling your services. All of these things are absolutely in your control to go and do something about. So if you're not happy with the amount of ghosting that you're doing, go and put some of these tips into practice. We've got loads more as well. So if you are struggling with anything, please feel free to reach out. And if anything we have said today interests you in terms of working with us in a little bit more closer detail, please reach out. You can get hold of us either on Instagram, wedding_business_hub, or you can send us an email to info@theweddingbusinesshub.com. The last thing to tell you is if you want to come and hang out with us on the 20th of November, we are going to be in Chester for our event. This is our event that we put on yearly. It's amazing. It's at the Old Palace in Chester, which is a stunning Georgian wedding venue. We've got the whole venue to ourselves for the day. We're going to be providing you with top quality education from 5 inspiring, amazing speakers from inside the wedding industry. We're going to have speaker panels. We're going to have workshops. We're going to have a gorgeous lunch provided by the chefs at the Old Palace. There's going to be loads of networking time on the day as well. Basically, it's a day of education for you inside the wedding industry. So if you're serious about building your wedding business, you are going to want to be at WedCon. It is on the 20th of November, 2024. Me and Roxy will be there. You'll be able to hang out with us all day. You'll be able to ask us loads of questions about your business. And also our other 5 speakers will be there as well. There is so much going on. It's going to be absolutely amazing. It's going to be the best one yet. If you want to see some information on WedCon, do head over to our website, www.theweddingbusinesshub.com/WedCon. You will find more information about that inside the show notes. So you can go and click on the link in the show notes as well. Tickets are absolutely limited, however
super duper limited,
but there are spaces available. We are so excited, and next week we are really looking forward to be sharing some of the sponsors that are going to be sponsoring WedCon this year as well. So we're really excited to be sharing some of our sponsorship sponsors with you. The room is absolutely amazing. It's really, we create a massive buzz around WedCon. Everyone's so excited to learn together. We really foster a really nice environment. So whether you come on your own or you come with people that you know inside the industry, you will be not leaving on your own, that is for sure. We make sure that there is lots of opportunities for you to meet new people, to talk about your business, to share what you do, to ask questions to our amazing panel and to us as well. And not only that, we've got an amazing photographer who's going to be there on the day to take photographs for you to be able to use inside your business. And actually, the ticket to WedCon, you know, with that included, is just absolutely so much value, because the shoot on its own would be more than the price of the ticket to WedCon as well. So not only
the images that we give you are stunning.
Yeah, so you get images, you get the meal, you get the education, you get the networking time. We're putting on a little bit of a party at the end as well. Not a crazy party, but just a nice little
I love it how you dropped that in there already. Not a crazy party.
I know, I had to say not a crazy party. Katie does not like crazy parties. She's done her crazy party in years. It's just a nice way to wrap up the evening on the evening as well. You can go and find out details, like I said, by clicking the link in the show notes. And if you've not been to a WedCon before as well, you can have a look at what it's all about. We love it. 20th of November this year, we are in Chester. It's at the Old Palace. There are only about 50 tickets remaining. Yes, it's in November, and you may think, oh my God, I've got ages to think about that yet, girls. Like, it's in November, it's after wedding season. But no, you don't, because the tickets do sell out every
Yeah.
single
And people miss out every year. Then afterwards, they're like, "Oh, I've got FOMO."
every time. And then because we put on food as well, we have to close the doors to the tickets a week before. So if we haven't sold out, we have to shut the doors anyway, because of we're not just putting on sandwiches for you. We are catering,
Uh-uh. Mm-mm.
beautiful, stunning catering as well. So not only are you going to get top-notch education in a gorgeous venue, you get use of the venue for photographs for your own social media. We've got a photographer and content creator there as well. So you can get some amazing content for your business, images for your business as well. 5 speakers talking on topics for the wedding industry on sales, marketing, mindset, and so much more. Roxy's just like buzzing. Like, she's like,
I'm like, wow, you are really going for this promo.
get a ticket, people. Sales, marketing, pricing. The speakers are amazing. Each and every year, we say every year, but it just gets better and better.
Yes.
The house, I've been to go and see it. It's
I'm so jealous. We need to arrange a recce so I can go and have a look, because I wasn't able to go, was I?
And also it's in the city of Chester as well. So Chester is just a beautiful city. It's really stunning. It's an old Roman town. It's got loads of beautiful architecture, and for anyone that's stopping over, there's loads of stuff that you can explore in Chester. Not only that, if it's up the road from Cheshire Oaks, that's like a designer outlet, which means you can do a little bit of shopping as well, which is amazing. But the important thing to think about is, I don't want you to sit and think, oh my gosh, I've got ages to think about that, girls. There's so much, so much time. Unfortunately, you don't. We have got so much interest already. You are able to split the cost. If you want to split the cost, you can split the cost. Head on over to the link that is going to be in the bio. It's going to be stunningly decorated, isn't it, Roxy? Like, we've got the best venue stylists coming in.
The best.
Amazing catering. We're going to look after you all day, and also you get to hang out with us as well. What more could you want?
What more could you want? We really do want to see you there. I don't really think I need to add anything to that, because you literally nailed that. Like, I'm buzzing. Where do I sign up?
Can you
We'll
tell
put the link in the show notes for you guys if you want to have a look. Any questions as well, feel free to get in touch with us. We love to
And if
hear.
you're somebody, just really quickly, if you're somebody that's really thinking, oh my God, I don't want to come on my own, let us know. We'll buddy you up with someone before you come.
Yeah.
So let us know, and we are more than happy to make.
I'm looking for a new buddy. I'm joking.
You can have one. Because this one's about to lose her voice. Like, but I don't want anyone to be worried about kind of coming on their own.
No.
Are more than happy to make a few introductions from people who may live close to you. And as well, yes, we are in Chester, but people do travel from all over the UK to be with us. So
You've got people coming from abroad as well.
Yeah, it's definitely worth you being there. There'll be so many people to connect with, so many important people in the industry for you to be able to get connections with and grow your business. So yeah,
that'd be great.
Go and check it out. You'll have the best time.
Well, thank you so much for tuning in, and we shall see you on the next episode.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Wed Pro podcast. Full transcribes of this episode, plus every other episode we have done, are available at www.theweddingbusinesshub.com/blogs. Thanks so much for listening. If you do have any questions about this episode or anything else at all, you can email us at info@theweddingbusinesshub.com. And if you are loving our episodes, which I know you are, make sure you hit the subscribe or follow button so you can stay updated with any new episodes that land. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode.